If you want to raise your GPA in college, if you want to study more efficiently, if you want to stay more productive, if you want to be more consistent and more disciplined, right? And you actually just want to know like how to navigate school, how to be, successful in college generally, right? Just listen to this video, right? There are three things that you just want to focus on, right, to be successful in college. These are three aspects that pretty much every student has. And if they just, get these three things right, you should be good to go. Okay. Now, first things first, it's school, right? And then life and career. Those are three aspects. I'm going to break down each of them like completely in detail. So let's get started. So first things first, your school, right? I'm talking your grades, GPA, credit units in terms of that, right? Like when are you graduating? All the kind of good stuff out there, right? How many credit units are you taking per quarter or per semester? So on and so forth, right? Your major. I see a lot of people, switch their majors all the time, right? But I don't think that's a good idea because like maybe like once is okay, but if you like keep on doing that, like you're just kind of jumping all over the place, which is not good. You want to pick one and kind of go all into it. This way, like you become expert in that field, right? Like whatever like resources you're learning, whatever skills, like if you're especially like an engineer, you're learning actual like real life skills, right? Like those kind of stuff, like academic stuff. That's important, obviously, right? Now, academics, mostly your grades I'm talking, right? Like your GPA, like your scores and the letter grades that you have or GPA on your transcript, that should be more like a bottom line. Again, if you want to be successful in college. I mean, somehow I see there are quite a bit of people, who don't really care about the grades, right? They're one of those people who say, like grades don't matter, so on and so forth, right? But I mean, if it doesn't matter, I mean, why are you in school, right? So academics, your grades should be more like a bottom line. So shoot for A's and B's, obviously. Like you want to at least be at like 80%, 90%, like that range. Okay. Now, failing classes or failing exams, like half-assing your classes, just getting by, just barely passing the classes, right, can result in being mediocre in your life and your career, right? Life and your career are the other aspects you want to focus on. After your school, right? So it leads to like it just makes everything negative, right? If you're not even focused in school, you're not going to be focused in your life and your career. They're all related. You see how this triangle is related, right? They're all interconnected, right? So you want to do well in your school, you want to be successful, you want to stay disciplined, you want to stay focused in school as well as in your life and your career as well. Okay. Now, keep in mind, you do not need to study a lot. Okay. Now, personally, for me, when I was stuck at 2.0 GPA back at UCLA, or even just, all the way back to even my high school, right? I was like one of those students who like always, tried, his best, right? Like I was always grinding it out, always staying up late, playing online or whatever. I thought that was supposed to be like studying strategy. I mean, yes, yeah, I mean, you could do that. You can study a lot. You can just grind it out. You can just study so much and so hard and pull off like 4.0 or whatever that might be, right? That works, right? But it is not sustainable, right? Like you can't pull off all-nighters like every single night. You can't like study 10, 12 hours a day every single day. No, again, it's not just a school. You need to also have your life and your career, right? So realistically, if you're studying like 8, 10, 12 hours a day, there is no time for you for your life and your career. So again, you do not want to study a lot. You do not need to study a lot if you know how to study, right? So you want to study smart, right, and efficiently, right? Because you want to focus on your quality over quantity. Just because you study a lot, just because you're putting so much work, so much effort into something, doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get whatever kinds of results, right? You have to put the work, put the effort and time into the right things to really, produce some kind of results. Now, what's actually, what are some benefits of, studying in the right direction? Right now, you study more efficiently. Obviously, with that, you get better grades, and now you have a little more time freed up, which means now you're going to have that well rounded balance between your school, your life, and your career. Okay. Always keep in mind, as a college student, it's not just the studies and the grades that you have on your plate. You also have your life, your career. You always want to keep that in mind. Okay. Again, just to kind of sum it up when it comes to the school academic stuff, right? Grades should be more like a bottom line, right? Like you have to, I mean, again, as a student, as a college student, right? You need to have good GPA, outstanding GPA, right? Because there are a lot of internships or whatever positions out there that still require GPA qualification. And also, not just that, not just for the like data or statistic stuff, right? But really just like generally speaking, right? Ask yourself, would you want to work with somebody who, who failed classes, who always procrastinate on their assignments? I mean, would you work with somebody like that? Right? Because having a poor grades, right? Having a low GPA, failing classes and everything, what this really means is that you don't have that work ethic, right? But good grades, right? High GPA, that means that you actually stayed focused. You did assignments on time. You were able to perform on whatever exams or whatever, right? You have that skill set. You have the consistency. You have the discipline. You have the work ethic, right? So who's more likely, right? To be more successful in real life, whether that be in your career, in a company you're working for, in a job or whatever, so on and so forth, right? So think about that. Now, next up, just going to go ahead and move this a little. Oops, I'm just going to go ahead and scroll this down a little bit to here. So let's talk about life, right? Again, school is not everything. If you're putting all the time and all the energy that you have into school, you're doing something wrong. Okay. I mean, I used to be one of those people. Okay. So I know how it feels, right? So if you're putting everything into school, you're doing something wrong for sure. Okay. Now, with that, just because you have a 4.0, just because you're a straight A student, that doesn't necessarily mean anything if you don't have your life. So when I say life, I'm mostly talking about working out, your health, relationships with your family, friends, if you're in a relationship with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, right? Your hobbies, etc. Right? If you don't have those, if you're like sacrificing everything that you like your hobbies and everything, just to study more, what's the point? I mean, you're going to school to be more successful in life at the end of the day, right? So again, school is not everything. Now, for me, not to like show off anything, but like to prove it to you, right? To show you what's possible, right? I was with my girlfriend, right? While taking 19 units per quarter, that's about like 4 or 5 classes on a UCLA quarter system, right? Working out 4 or 5 times a week, sleeping 8 hours a day, like doing all other stuff. I was doing my hobbies, I was, taking my Friday nights off, all the kind of good stuff out there, right? Again, you want to have your life, right? Not just like studying and grinding it out every single day. No, right? Now, with that next up, you want to look at the big picture, the long term picture, right? School is just more like a bridge that kind of just connects you to the life and your career. It's like a stepping stone. Like school is not the end goal, it's not the end game, right? In school, through school, you just want to learn skill sets, strategies that you need, or you can network with other people, blah blah blah, the skill sets and everything that you need for your life and your career later on, right? So do not think that like school's everything, right? Just because you do so well in college or in school doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful in your life and your career. You have to view school, your college, as more like that milestone, kind of the connecting bridge, right? That way, after school or through school, you have the skill sets, you learn those, and you can use that, you can apply those skill sets into your life, into your career. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily now saying grades are not important. Again, grades should be your bottom line. Okay. A's and B's, 3.5 plus, those should be bottom line. Like I said a few minutes earlier, right? Poor grades, meaning poor work ethic, poor mindset, less opportunities, right? Think of it as more like in a perspective from the employer. It's just, let's just, keep it easy, right? Keep it simple, right? If you're an employer, if you're in a position where you have to hire somebody, right? Let's say you have someone with poor grades, you have someone with really outstanding, excellent GPA. Who'd you like, really? Right? Yes, I know they might have some differences in their skill set or whatever. Maybe poor grades, students with poor grades, maybe they're more skilled in whatever skill sets, right? But I mean, how likely is that realistically, right? So think about that. Now, the next step is the career, right? I mean, we've been kind of, talking about this career, right? This this whole video, right? But still, like I said, they're all interconnected, right? So how you do one thing is how to do everything. If you're not, doing well in your career, chances are your life, not doing good. Your school, not doing good. Same thing, right? Vice versa. Life, if you're not doing very well on it, right? Think about it, right? Let's say you kind of, let's say you're in a relationship now, you went through a breakup, right? And that affects your school, your life, right? I've had actually a few students, who are telling me, hey, I just when you went through a breakup, like things are going downhill, my grades are getting worse and worse, right? It affects everything, basically. Your health, you're not, yeah, after breakup, like you don't feel, like you don't feel like studying, you don't feel like going to gym, like you're like in a way kind of depressed, right? So it's for example, like that, right? It's just it affects everything. So they're all interconnected. Okay. Again, how you do one thing is how you do absolutely everything. Okay. So when it comes to career wise, again, like I said, like I've been saying, right? Good grades, it opens a lot of doors and opportunities for you, right? Again, I keep on emphasizing this in a lot of times, but would you want to work with people who couldn't finish tasks on time, right? They couldn't discipline themselves to, wake up early. They couldn't perform well, like on exams or whatever tasks, and just procrastinated. I mean, would you work with somebody like that, right? Again, poor grades mean poor work ethic. Good grades mean good work ethic, right? Remember this quote all the time, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay. Now, if you're a freshman or sophomore, or if you're thinking that you're still early in the process when it comes to like career and those like internship opportunities or whatever, it's not too early. There is no like such thing as like, oh, it's too early to start searching for like interns or whatever. No, like successful students, they just do it in the beginning, even their freshman year. Doesn't matter, right? Do not wait for the perfect opportunities. Do it when you can. Like let's say as a freshman year in college, right? You just got to the school and you're just getting started, right? Let's say you saw this opportunity, let's say, like a networking event or whatever, career fair. Like let's say you want something, right? Just do it. Do not be saying like, yeah, I mean, I'm just a freshman, I'm supposed to have fun in college, I'm supposed to look for internships or whatever opportunities when I become a junior or senior. No, even if you're a freshman or sophomore, early in the process, just do it. This way you build your career along with your academics and everything. This way when it comes to when you become a junior or senior, it's more easy going for you, right? Now, when it comes to doing your career, right? One pro tip that I found after working with hundreds of people, right, was that you want to select clubs, like whatever clubs that you have on campus, like communities or whatever, internships, research, again the community, or whatever extracurricular activities that you want to relate them to your major or whatever future career that you're pursuing, right? They got to be relatable. So for example, I was a math major, applied math major, right? And let's say the activities or whatever internships that I was doing is just completely, unrelated to math. It's like, let's say some sort of like English kind of stuff, let's say, like, like literature or whatever, right? Doesn't make sense. You cannot put that on your resume, right? But let's say you're a CS student, you're studying computer science, let's say, right? And now you get an internship, let's say like one of those like tech company or like one of those like tech startup company or whatever, and now you can put that on the resume, and now they are relatable. All right, this guy's pursuing CS career path, and he did some internships and whatever like activities like with like those tech companies and all that. Now it's more relatable, right? It tells that it tells the other people that, right, this person, this student is really interested in this field, right? He actually went all in this field, right? But like if whatever internships or community or whatever activities you're involved with, if they're like just completely just just like out of nowhere, like just completely unrelatable, they are not worth doing, and they are not going to be able to be put on the resume because they're just completely unrelatable. So something that you want to keep in mind and just be a little bit careful, right? Just be selective when it comes to like whatever clubs you're picking, internships you're doing, activities you're doing, so on and so forth. Okay, so just be careful with it. So yeah, to kind of sum it up, right, this whole video, yeah, these are three things that you always want to stay focused on. Okay, like one is not necessarily more important than the other. They're all equally important. Okay, so only three things: your school, your grades and GPA, your life, like hobbies, working out, relationships, and everything. Right? Career, like literally your career, like internships, job offers, so on and so forth. Now, let me tell you something. The students who do well, who perform well, right, in school, they also perform well. So meaning like they work out consistently, they have like strong, like healthy relationship in their life, right? And they also do very well with their career. You see the connection, you see the pattern, right? How you do one thing is how you do everything. And on the other hand, students who just procrastinate their school, right? Students who just kind of get by, just barely pass the classes in school, right? Who always kind of had to look it up and in a way kind of cheat, kind of just always got the poor grades. you know, the quality of their life is not really looking great. Same thing with their career. They're always half-assing it. They're always doing it at the last minute. Like it translates. The work ethic, the habits you build in school, like it goes into your life, your school, like your career. Like it's again, it's all interconnected. Okay, so if you do not know where to get started, right, just look at this triangle and just get started somewhere. Okay, like if you're doing better in life, soon you're going to do better with your school, soon you're going to do better with your career. It's not like the classes, like difficult classes or whatever. It's not your personal stuff that's happening, like it's not your emergence happening, right? It's the attitude that you need to have. It's the attitude. Okay, so yes, there's that. And before I forget, if you want to work with me directly, because I've been working with over 400 students, I've been helping them get 3.5 plus GPA by building time management systems, studying strategies, blah blah blah. If you'd like to work with me directly, one on one, personally, just DM me the word system on my Instagram. This is my Instagram profile, my handle right here. So yeah, reach out to me there. But other than that, that'll be it for this video. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, see you in the next one.